still they are not on that track.
Yes. Now, obviously, there was a clear plan in mind. And what I found interesting is before those riots had taken place, and where Muslims and Hindus both lived together without any problems. And once these riots had taken place, once these things were over, we see a completely different picture emerging.
I would start with from where it started. It was started at the backdrop of the Citizenship Amendment Act that was introduced by Indian government in last December, and it was started when on 11 December 2019 the Citizenship Amendment Bill was proposed by Home Minister of India Amit Shah, and then it became law after getting passed in both the houses of Parliament. The law provided an opportunity to grant citizenship to the illegal immigrants of the neighboring countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. That too only to the people following faith other than Islam, and this includes granting citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, and Parsis of neighboring countries. So basically, the Muslims were deliberately carved out from the benefits of this law. Leaders of a ruling party were seen several times claiming that Muslims don't deserve to be in the same purview as of the people from other religions, and Muslims are not entitled to get equal rights. Along with that, the government came up with the idea to impose a national register of citizenship, which will basically result in exclusion of the Muslims on large scale residing in India, and national register of citizenship also exclude not only exclude Muslims, but later it can be carved out that people who will be losing their citizenship from NRC can gain and obtain it through the procedure of Citizenship Amendment Act. But Muslims will be carved out because CAA was not covering the Muslims of India. So this was directly depriving Muslims of their constitutional rights in India.
Now, also, when one looks at the brutality and how this was basically orchestrated, and we see this, we've seen it in the past, we see it in many areas around India, we've seen it in the past, even like the Gujarat riots, where you've got these mobs and this mob mentality that comes through chanting as well, and dragging people from their homes, beaten up. But also at the same time, when one looks at the police, how complicit the police have actually been in the riots. And at the same time, even when one looks at politicians encouraging this type of behavior of the mob. So this is an all too common scenario that is playing out in India. And this is what exactly played out in Delhi last year.
Exactly. What you are saying is exactly correct. Because the violence erupted soon after the politician of the ruling Hindu Nationalist Party, Bharatiya Janata Party's leader Kapil Mishra, warned protesters who were protesting against the Citizenship Amendment Act to vacate the protest sites and threatened them of violence. He deliberately said this on record that if the protesters are not going to vacate the protest sites, he and his party is going to take the law in his hand, and he will unleash violence on the protesters. And his hate speech resulted into the communal clashes that erupted in northeast part of the Delhi, and over 54 Muslims were killed, not only by Hindu mobs, they were aided and sponsored by police and the ruling administration itself.
Now, just looking at where obviously some of these cases, would have gone to court or have made it to court, what is the status of prosecution of those who have been guilty of killing these people?
See, when it happened, the government based, not the state government, the government which is in Delhi promised of a different kind of aid that will be provided to the victims and the survivors of the Northeast Delhi pogrom. But obviously, a life cannot be compensated with money. I believe that it cannot be compensated with whichever amount of money you give them. But there is a real contradiction on the aid and the relief given to the people. But there are several organizations and voluntary people who are working to rehabilitate these people, and a lot have been done by them. But there is a limited and next to uh, negligible help given by government to these people.
Yes. Now, obviously, the other issue, and this is something that we should not be losing sight of, Ghazala, is looking at what the Muslims in those areas or in those colonies have actually lost, because many of them have lost their homes and their properties.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, they were forced to basically flee. And these properties obviously went through to many other Hindus. So this is also another problem where they have not been basically compensated for what they have basically lost out on.
Hmm. They not only lost the properties, they lost the lives. They lost their trust in the state machinery. They lost their trust in the idea of the coexistence. Earlier, they used to exist together with the Muslim, with the people of the other faiths, other religions. The area in which the pogrom happened, it was coexisted by Hindus and Muslims also. But now they have lost their trust into this coexistence and secular kind of thing which happened to be in India. And obviously in the state machinery, especially police, because whenever there is violence, whenever there is a tragedy, whenever there is a conflict, people believe that police is there, they are going to protect them. But what they witnessed was that police were actually with the Hindu mob, with the people who were unleashing violence on them. So this is all what they have lost.
Yes, and clearly, this has affected the social interaction between the communities, because we now learned since those riots,
Hmm.
people are pretty much to themselves, because now even in terms of supporting businesses, we've learned now Hindus prefer to go to shops owned by Hindus, Muslims prefer to go to shops owned by Muslims, and this is obviously the divide that has been created. And these are people for years and years and years who had lived happily together, interacted together, and now we have this whole division that is taking place, which is a direct result of the riots that had taken place in Delhi.
I believe, because this is something that has not happened over few years. This kind of gap between two communities, or I would say the systematic growth of the hate towards Muslim was ever existing in this country. I believe so, because something doesn't happen like out of nowhere. I think that it was being instilled in the minds of non-Muslims, and this happened.
Yes, Ghazala, as always, we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for your time with us this morning here on Salam Media, on News and Views. We wish you all the best, and we do appreciate you taking time out and coming and talking to us here on the show. All the best to you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much.
Ghazala Ahmad, journalist and correspondent from the Cognate, which is a digital news platform.
Did you know a sponsored water well and borehole allows children to go back to school? Empower